Hello everyone and welcome to what is just going to be called the buttons video. I am going to be going over two pretty important topics, two new topics, mainly the idea of buttons. Buttons being the third type of symbol we can insert. Remember, if we go to insert new symbol, we always have a choice down here. We've done movie clips, think of your bird, and timeline and movie clip exercises. We've done graphics. Those are sort of simple things. In this case, I have this red ball down here. We have not done buttons. Buttons allow for interactivity, meaning that if you come to a particular point in a movie, you can be given a choice. Do I want to go here or do I want to go there? In conjunction with buttons, we need to learn some ActionScript. ActionScript animates language that allows for interactivity, and we're going to be doing some of the more simple sort of actions in ActionScript, but it's somewhat more complicated than we've done before. So there is a step-by-step tutorial, as well as obviously the video. One thing to note, I have sort of created, sort of prepackaged or created a lot of the stuff, mainly 1 through 8, where we create 3 different scenes. We create a motion tween with a red ball graphic and a green ball graphic. This is all review. This is all stuff you should know. I essentially have 3 scenes. One's called the home scene. One's called red ball, just with sort of a red ball going across the screen. And one's called green ball. Okay, so this is almost sort of hearkening back to our first motion tween exercises, so pretty straightforward and simple stuff. I'm going to pick up at step 9 here. So step 9 says go to the home scene. So I'm going to go to home. And next it says go to window actions. So I'm going to go up to window actions. So again, actions are bits of script. Anyone familiar with something like web design or HTML? These are bits of, computer script or programming that allows for our movie to do something that via the other symbols and the things we've done up to this point are not possible. One thing we're going to do, and the first thing we're going to do here on step 11, is make the movie stop. One thing you guys have probably noticed, especially with your Swifts when you're viewing them, they just go, go, go. I always sort of make a joke that, these things always want to go, go, go. We want to, right off the bat, right when we enter this simple movie, stop the movie. Okay. So this first action is potentially this most simple action there is in ActionScript, and it says in the actions window type stop with these parentheses without the quotes. This will add a small A in your layer 1 on the first frame. So I'll look here and then also look up here. So I'm going to simply write stop and then the little parentheses. You'll see it turn blue. That sort of indicates that it's a proper, the sort of syntax is proper. So I'm simply stopping this movie. Okay. Next, I am going to sort of close this out temporarily. You'll notice, and this sort of says at the end of step 11, this will add a small A in the layer 1. You see it's kind of tiny. That simply means that we have an action in there. I'm going to rename this first layer stop action. I like to separate things, as you've noticed throughout the videos. So this is just going to be a layer for that stop action. Step 13 says choose insert new symbol. This is where we're going to get to buttons. It says name this symbol go to green ball button. Okay, so I'm going to name this. I'm going to name this go to green ball button. Go to green ball button. And most importantly, we want to choose button from the drop-down menu. Right here. You'll see I have a green ball graphic over here. I already made that. You guys will make that in your steps 1 through 8. So I'm super sort of picky about sort of naming things, so I know exactly what this is. So I'm going to click OK. First things first, we enter the library, and we enter sort of our sketch area where we're making our button. It should look like the area that you use when you use a graphic or a movie clip, but the timeline up here looks considerably different. We have up, over, down, and hit. These are what are called states. If you want to sort of use kind of a metaphor in your head, think of this almost like a web link. We can hover over a link on a website, just a bit of text. The up state is basically it in its natural state. The over state is what happens when we hover over it. The down is what happens when we sort of are clicking the mouse click down. And the hit state is basically the area that's sensitive to all of this, where we might activate all these things. We're going to be doing a simple sort of change of what's called the overstate. Okay, so step 16 says choose the text tool and draw a text box. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to draw a simple text box. It says step 17, type go to green ball in a dark shade of green. So I'm going to go to green ball. I'm going to pull this out. And I'm going to change the color of it so it's appropriately green. And I can do that over in my properties window. So I'm going to do a light green here. Okay. Next thing it says insert keyframes in each of the over, down, and hit states in the layer of the timeline. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to simply right click and I'm going to insert a keyframe, and that's going to bring over our go to green ball. And I'm going to do it for each one of these. Okay. Next it says step 19, highlight the text on the over state of the keyframe. Change this to a light green. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to highlight the text while I'm on the over state, and I'm going to choose a super sort of light green. Okay, so now we have a button, okay, that has 4 states, and the over state sort of gives us an indication that we are basically activating that button. Okay. Step 20 says repeat steps 13 through 19, but this time make it go to red ball button. I'm going to stop the video briefly and sort of just make this in the interest of time. It's essential. It's everything we did steps 13 through 19. Okay, I'm back. Now I have a a red ball button. And I'll go over to my library and I have a green ball button. Probably see where we're going with this. Each of these buttons are going to sort of go to the scene that we created. Okay, so I have 2 new button symbols over here. You have to be very careful and make sure that these are buttons, not movie clips. None of this up, over, down, and hit will sort of appear if we do a graphic or a movie clip. So I'm going to hop in at step 21. It says on the home scene, insert 2 layers. Name one red ball button and the other green ball button. So I'm going to go over to my scene here and I'm going to insert 2 layers. And I'll call one of them red ball button, and I will call the other one green ball button. Okay. Step 22 says drag the go to green ball button onto the stage on the first frame of the green ball button layer. Do the same for the go to green ball button. Okay, this is all hopefully matching up. So here's my red ball. I'm going to go to my red ball and I'm going to drag this down here and position it. I'm going to go to green ball, grab my green ball button, and position it. Okay, so all of this is happening on the very first frame. One thing to note is that when we come into this movie now, we have this stop. So if we sort of look at this movie, it's essentially going to sort of, nothing's going to happen. Okay, we're going to sort of come into this and we're basically going to see these 2 buttons. So let's forge ahead. With the black selection tool, click on the green ball button on the stage. So I'm going to click on this. We get the blue bounding box. You'll see I've selected it up here as well. It says go to window code snippets. Code snippets are actions. They are simply prepackaged actions. So you don't have to write all this gobbledygook stuff that is encapsulated inside this action script. It says click on the folder, the second folder called Timeline Navigation. A set of choices will appear. Okay, so we're going to go here, we're going to go here. Next, it says double click on the one called click to go to scene and play. And that is the last one on here. In parentheses, it says say okay to asking it if it can name an instance. So I'm going to double click on this, and I'm going to get this kind of warning. It says Animate will create an instance name before applying the code. That's okay. The idea behind an instance is that we can reuse GoToGreenBall 20 times if we want. We are creating a specific name that will be in the code that is specific to the, and this is why it's called an instance, the instance of that script. So I'm going to hit OK. And we get all this stuff. It says in your actions panel, and that's what this is, look for the line of code that says movie clip, this route, go to scene, and play, parentheses 1, and then a scene number. Okay. We are looking for this. Just to sort of go over this briefly, this is up here. This is called a comment, and you'll see it's grayed out. This is sort of, I always say in plain English, what's happening with this action script. It says instructions, replace scene 3 with the name of the scene you would like to play, which is exactly what we want to do. Step 2 says replace 1 with the frame number you would like the movie to play in that specific scene. So let's think about what's happening. We essentially want to go from this home scene to our green ball scene, okay? Because we have added the script to go there. So one thing I need to note, and I'm moving it down here, it says on step 28, replace what is between the quotes with green ball. This has to be exactly what your scene is called. So my scene is called green ball, capital G, capital B with a space. It will not work if you do not type this exactly as you have typed here. So many times I fix people's action scripts because they have not named it the same. Okay, we essentially want this to go from our home scene to the first frame of the green ball scene. So this one is okay. It says repeat steps 22 through 28 with the go to red ball button. I'm looking over at my video here and noting that I will not be able to finish in one video. So I'm actually going to stop this video and do a brief second video to finish this up.